Marcus.
Dun, dun.
Morning, Marcus.
Sounds like a knocking shop, that noise, David. Ding
Morning.
ding.
Sounds like a knock shop. Right. I wouldn't know what a knock shop sounds like. Right. That's great. All right. So it is, what's the time here? It's 2 minutes past 11 here in Cape Town. It's 2 minutes past 10 in the UK. What time is it in Thailand, Marlon?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. All right. So, what does the future hold, Marlon?
The future
For
of me.
you're 4 hours ahead of us. What can we expect? What's coming? What's coming down the line?
Don't know. Good weather for you, I hope. Oh, you're in Cape Town anyway. Surely it'll be beautiful.
Hmm. Are you up to creating the container?
Um, I'll give it a go. Why not?
Great. Go for it.
Um, so I'm checking in. Do you know what? To be fair, I've totally forgot, David. If I'm honest, remind me, please.
You forgot to check in. How are you
Oh no, so
feeling?
I'm checking in, tired, drained, been a really long day at work. Um, yeah, just been spending quite a lot of one-on-ones with people, and I've just yeah, just when it just gets the better of you. And I've just been two of the boys have just come off a motorbike, so I had to go and rescue them, get them back, and then rush back here. I've just been 2 weeks have been quite difficult for me. But I'm grateful I've made it for my second time this week, and I'm on time. Yeah, I'm sure I'll feel better at the end of this because I always do. But I was like sort of hoping that um, there was these moments where I was hoping like I don't get accepted in, but I've tried, even though it's myself. Yeah, a bit of a funny stage. But yeah, anyway, I will pass on to Andrew.
Cheers, Marlon. I'm checking in as okay. I'm a bit worn out. I think probably some a bit burnt out a little bit over the last couple of weeks. Been a lot of stuff going on. But there is Easter weekend coming up now, so I've got 4 days off to reset a bit. So kind of that's coming at the right time for me. But yeah, I'm just feel a little bit like things are a little bit overwhelming the last couple of weeks or so, and just kind of seen it through and managed to keep it going. But yeah, ready for this break. Yeah, and I will tag Marcus.
Andrew. Morning. Yeah, checking in good. A bit disorientated. I just had the gas and electric meter changed over, so it completely threw my morning routine. Yeah, it's been a good week so far, and just looking forward to what the session brings. And I will tag Ballet.
Cool. Cheers, Marcus. I'm checking in as subdued, a bit overwhelmed. I've just got lots of big things happening, and they've all kind of come at once in the last like 2 or 3 days. Then, like Andrew said, with the work stuff as well, I'm feeling a bit flat. Not my usual kind of positive. I'm trying to be, but I think I've just got so much going on, and I haven't even got time to kind of process stuff and think about it. And yeah, so I'm just feeling very, very overwhelmed, a little bit flat, a little bit subdued, but similar to what Marlon said, I'm still grateful that I'm here, grateful on the journey that I'm on. And yeah, I'm sure everything will sort itself out. And I'll go back to David, or I'll go to David, I'll tag in David.
Thank you. So, yeah, I'm mad and manic, excited, living my kokorozashi. It's really nice that you're here, Marlon. Yeah. And Marcus, it's always nice to see you're so dedicated to this. And my work ethic is when I'm passionate about something, if I get an idea at fucking 1:30 in the morning, I'm posting the world. and yeah, so working with my daughter and my son on their businesses has been very rewarding as well for me this week as well. So the trouble is I have millions of ideas, and I just spoke to someone about marketing, and he said, "Can you just fucking focus on one thing?" And yeah, so I'm happy. Yeah. Right, so just before we kick off, let's just remind everyone that this meeting's being recorded. The reason that we record it is to help the work get out into the world, to challenge stigma, yeah, and to kind of share this stuff, and how we can take our lived experience and show up in a professional way with our lived experience. So this is a training class that's being streamed so that we can help build capacity around this professional role. If at any time, like your safety is top priority, so if any time that you feel uncomfortable with that, or we feel uncomfortable with what you're sharing because it might impact someone else, we will delete the recording straight away. Does that make sense to everyone? Are you all in agreement? Yeah. Feels a bit like a fellowship, and you go through all the preambles beforehand, and it's like, when can we fucking actually get on with the meeting? Yeah. So, all right, great. So, any accountability, anything from the last meeting? Was there any homework?
No, because last week, Charlie, was it Charlie? Charlie took it, didn't he? The guy from Scotland. He was a great guy, to be honest with you. So Charlie took it in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I can't remember the name of the girl. She kind of hosted it for the first hour, and then we just kind of all did it ourselves, type thing. So there wasn't any homework or learning, from what I remember.
Great. All right. Good morning, Olivia.
Morning.
Welcome. Would you like to check in?
Yeah, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just a bit tired. But apart from that, I'm okay.
All right.
I'm good.
All right. So we're just doing accountability. And that's done. All right. So what should we talk about today? Andrew and Bally, you've done quite a few classes now.
I think this is my third or fourth. I want to say third. I don't know. I'd have to go back and check.
No, you've done more than that, especially if you
Like
did two last week.
Yeah, no, the morning sessions. This might be my fourth then.
Okay.
This might be my fourth or third. Yeah, I had something that I just wanted to sort of get people's advice on and opinion on, and that was so when we're feeling like shit because we've got our own stuff going on, because life happens, life doesn't go away. But then you've got a schedule of 3 or 4 one-to-one recovery sessions booked in that day. Like, what's the best thing to do there? Do you know, like, should you postpone? Should you still? Because if you feel that you're not going to be the best version of yourself to the person that you're meant to be supporting, like, what do you do in that spot? But you don't want to cancel, so it's just to put it out there to what's the right thing to be doing there?
Who's got an answer for Bally? It's a great topic, by the way. Like when we're feeling shit, how can we, there's a job that needs to be done, there's a role that needs to be filled. How do we manage that? And where does lived experience start and stop?
Well, I experienced that today, to be honest, and I just leaned further into it, to be honest, because I genuinely don't feel ill. I'm just really tired, and I just know with experience of leaning into someone who's needing my support and help will make me feel better. I'm really just thinking of the end
Yeah.
the end goal. You know, like it happened to me earlier, and I got a handshake after, you know, and it just instantly made me feel a lot better. But
Okay.
it was the idea of coming and sitting in a classroom for 2 hours, which was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I can't do this.
Yeah.
I go back to like school and a child, even though again it's me and this is all benefiting me. You know,
Yeah.
it's not, no one forces me, but yeah, that's how I seem to get by.
Okay. And in terms of finding that level of enthusiasm, level of energy to be able to go and perform the role that we need to do, what kind of measures did you use to make sure that you still turned up as the best version of Marlon?
Um, I just think just I don't know. I seem to overcome it. Like, you know,
Okay.
just being I'm responsible and I'm accountable, and it's my job to serve for these people. Like, you know, I compare my, you know, I go back to my using days where I'm just completely unreliable
Mm,
and not available. You know, it's
mm,
just like I'm just tired, Marlon. You know, Marlon, snap out of it. You know, just
mm. Okay.
I don't really have a full blown strategy. I just know that, you know, it happens quite regularly for me, and
Okay.
I
But then I kind of did the similar thing where I was just like, I've got to turn up and I've got to show up. But in terms of how you felt afterwards, so if you're walking into it and you're feeling like crap, but then you're making sure that you're serving the obviously the people that you want to serve, in terms of how you felt afterwards or what you did afterwards to kind of repair yourself, what kind of things did you do there?
Well, for instance, tonight, my self-care of tonight is where I am currently. I'm quite fortunate, and I'm going to be going for a nice relaxing massage, you
Okay.
know, and an early night, and I can sort of reflect back, and it's due to, you know, lack of sleep for me why I feel like I've lacked today and being tired. You know, I'm
Yeah.
very firm with my 7 hours, and I know I only had 5 hours last night.
Mm,
I sort
okay.
of can narrow it down to that. That's just for today, by the way. But, you know, previously, like when you just become tired and flat for no reason, I can't really. It was just quite convenient that I could share that today, where I'm at today.
All right, cool. No, thanks for sharing that.
So, Bally, you and Andrew from the same organization, yes?
Correct.
And you're working with people that are recovering from gambling harms.
Yeah, mainly. I mean, some of the people will have cross addictions. I had a couple
Yeah.
of them, couple of days, but yeah, predominantly that's the program that we work on.
Okay. And you're getting paid by that organization because of your lived experience.
Yes. Yep.
It's an added, like, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we're looking.
Yeah.
And your lived experience this morning, or that sometimes like, oh fuck it, I can't be asked with this today.
Um. Yeah, because of the events of this week.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed,
Yeah.
yep. And how do I still remain authentic with my story and my lived experience and
Hmm.
still show up in a professional role that
Hmm.
I'm being paid for?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you're a bricklayer, if you work in IT support, if you're a lawyer, if you're like a school teacher, you're going to wake up with mornings and it's like, oh, fuck, I can't be asked today, but I got to go to work and fucking lay bricks, fix computer, teach kids, whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah. You're working in an organization that has this. What sort of policies or things are in place to protect the people delivering the work?
Hmm.
Yep.
Hmm.
Around this sort of stuff. Yep. And to protect the clients or the
Hmm.
participants or the human beings from your own stuff leaking out.
Hmm.
So if you walked in there and said, fuck, I'm exhausted, I just want to go down the betting shop, come, let's go down the betting shop and have our coaching session there, that might be a bit inappropriate.
Little bit, yeah, possibly.
But do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm obviously turning up the volume on all of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just from a coaching perspective,
Mm-hmm.
seeing what the answer is emerging in this container.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's hear from some of the other. Let's hear from Andrew. I mean, how
Yeah.
Andrew, as Bally's colleague, how does your organization handle this very real challenge?
Yeah, so obviously our organisation is predominantly lived experience, so we all are there to protect, to help each other through it. So there is actually a day allocated through our annual leave, which isn't included in annual leave, which is called a fuck it day. If you wake up one morning and you literally cannot bear to face the day, you can actually take a day off in that perspective. It gets to that point where you feel like you're so overwhelmed. If for any reason you feel like you're really not able to take for for illness, any sort of illness or stuff, you can take the day off and people will cover for that, or you can reschedule. But I also think with the lived experience, we're human and we're going to have ups and down days, and the people on the other end of the call sometimes appreciate the fact that we're not always up there all the time. Sometimes we do drop, and it's just trying to put the onus on them to see what they want to work on that day, and for us to reflect and say, yeah, we're having shit days as well. We're human. We're in recovery for however many years, and name it as well. And they appreciate that honesty. As long as it's kept in professional, like you say, don't. David said, yeah, let's get down the bookies. If it's got to that point where you feel like you're going to go back to gambling again, and it gets that bad, then that's something you need to reset and kind of go back and talk to, management and the senior team and bits like that. We've got supervision we can have as well. So Chris, our person who gives us supervision, it's talking it through with her, how you're feeling as well, booking a session with her around it, or just the manager and bits like that. So it's trying to reach out for support of how you're feeling and work through it with someone. Don't feel like you've got to work through it alone.
So you've got a fuck it day.
Did not know
So
that.
Bally could
Bally
phone
is
up
it,
and say, fuck it. Yeah.
yeah.
And then
I'm sure
how
that's from
does the
Richie.
organization respond to a fuck it day? You make sure that the people that are your colleagues jump in and cover. Yeah. And what happens if the colleagues are at capacity already?
Then we'd find that they'd be postponed to another day. We'd let the people know that the calls that day can't be taken, and arrange for another time and explain why, and say that we're at capacity.
Okay, so you have a process that you go through where you phone up and you go through your own authentic human experience, and your words were they appreciate that, I think.
Yeah, they appreciate honesty, and if you're
They
honest with them,
appreciate,
yeah.
okay. So, and by sharing that, your authentic stuff, what do you think's being taught, being modeled? You mentioned it.
That recovery isn't a linear process. You have ups and downs, no matter how far you go
It
with it.
has its ups and downs. It's fucking like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And no matter how far you are through it or whatever, it's keep working on it, and you're allowed to give yourself that time for compassion, just to have that moment to reset a bit as well. And it's not everyone should be, like you said, about being positive all the time and being put in that position. That's potentially damaging to someone to feel like they have to be someone they're not. It's about being authentic. So if you're feeling down, don't feel like you've got fake positivity, and be genuine around it all. And people want to see that authenticity, otherwise they'll spot you, trying to fake it.
And how do they handle it in places like the NHS?
With lived experience, I would say that probably over they'll try and mollycoddle you a little bit, so you feel like they'll look after you too much in that respect, possibly. Yeah, the lived experience NHS one's a weird dynamic, because you weren't really given a workload, because whether they didn't know what to do with lived experience in that respect, for my experience anyway. So they would basically, if you weren't feeling up to it one day, they would basically take everything off you and then phase you back in almost. So you almost feel like you're starting from square one again. Whereas with Epic, it's more a case of this is life and how you're going to get through this. And the question would be, if you're feeling crap, what would you do if you weren't working to get yourself better? That's what they would advise you to do, is work on yourself to get yourself to that point. And if working helps you through that, like Marlon said, sometimes you can go into work and start talking to people and you feel better. If that works for you, do it. But if you need to do something else, go and do that as well. NHS was more process driven. It'd be more, okay, let's have 10,000 meetings to make sure that every second of the day that you're okay to then go back into work and bit. So it was, yeah, it's a driving mad.
I detect a tone of frustration there.
yeah, that's why I left.
Oh, yeah. That's why you left.
One of the reasons, one of the reasons I wanted to leave. Yeah.
So let's explore that if you're okay with that.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So why did you leave?
Number. Yeah, that's one of the reasons. Is I didn't feel like lived experience was treated in a respected way. I guess I felt like it was more a token.
So in the way that they were caring for you, it actually made you feel less than. You used the word mollycoddled.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's look at it from the other perspective. Yep, you're working as equals, and it's like, oh fuck, I've got lived experience. I've got a fuck it day. I can just take time off, and my fucking colleagues must pick up the slack. Yep. How do you think they might feel this side as well? We don't get a fuck it day. We just got to get on with the job. I just want us to kind of look at the. It's a great topic, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't used my fuck it day yet. But I think with Epic, it's more of I've got it in hand. Yeah, maybe I have to use it at some point. But I think with Epic, it feels like everyone's on the same kind of boat and everyone's being authentic and everyone's saying how they feel regarding it all. And it feels less senior driven. It is senior driven. It's led by senior members, but those senior members are showing their authenticity as well, and they're saying when they're struggling potentially. Whereas the NHS felt like there's just layers to it, and you almost felt like you were at the bottom and being fed information that they felt was suitable for you to hear, in a way.
Yep.
That makes sense. So I
that's shame. Those people with lived experience, they haven't got the mental capacity to hear to know the big picture. Let's just keep it. Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
Yeah. And I worked in NHS previously in finance, and sort of worked my way up the ladder and did what I needed to do to sort of get promoted, and so sort of seeing that side of it as well. And I've been in senior leader team meetings and stuff like that, and all the bullshit that goes in those meetings, and it was something that I could see still is very much the case, and that there's a lot of frustration there, David. I could probably
feel it. Jeez, I mean, just talking about it's getting you fucking.
But it's the other reasons I wanted to work for Epic. I was part of Epic, so one of the reasons was that opportunity came up. But with the NHS, all I could see it was I was going to progress in the NHS. I was going to have to potentially bullshit more and be less authentic. But that was ultimately it. And I didn't feel like I could be myself the more it kind of went on. Yeah.
Okay. So from an institutional perspective, the personality gets pushed more and more out, and the role shows up more and more clinical. Like we show up here, and in this sort of environment, the personality is kind of coached more and more and more to come in. Yep. Okay. Marcus, I'm sure you've got some wisdom here. No pressure.
Yeah, I guess it's finding the balance between the two. It's like circumstantial. If you're really not feeling up to it, then you can take a fuck it day and you restructure your activities so they're less intensive with the clients. And you offload a couple of clients even. Just instead of taking a fuck it day, just take a half-ass day instead. But I do think that either way, it's got to be authentic with the client. They need to understand to break down the stigma of the system. This isn't an NHS organisation. We're not just going to say your appointment's cancelled and there's no excuse. There's a genuine reason and a genuine human behind your support and your treatment with us, and they're not feeling up to it today. And just allowing them to see that, they are human whilst managing their expectations. But I don't know, I would assess which clients, just assess which clients are going to be heavy and maybe unload your heaviest one. And then, meditation, wellness, resilience, all those things that you've learned, just putting those into practice and just understanding that. I think, Andrew, you said you had a bit of a burnout.
Yeah, I've done a fair bit recently with stuff, just pushing myself out. I've done podcasts and groups and stuff, all stuff that provokes anxiety, and I feel like maybe I pushed it a bit too far. So it's more that sort of stuff. It's good for me, but I need a bit of a reset. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to get to burnout as such, but you'll kind of want to get to a comfortable line where you are pushing yourself and growing, but not burning yourself out. Because in the long run, if you burn out and leave, then they're not going to find another team member as fast, and the client really is getting let down. And it's not one, it's four. So one day for the sake of another 3 months of just being able to keep going, I would take that one day 100%. But then how does an organization do you convey that to the client? Yeah.
Olivia, would you like to take a fuck it day and just say I don't
I would
want to
take
do
the fuck it day though. I would take the fuck it day.
I like the half-assed day. That was
Yeah, I was going to say that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm not 100% today, but I'm here. It's just being accountable, I suppose, and like people in recovery can see that every day isn't perfect, and they need to kind of see that, like we're all human, aren't we? We're all kind of doing our thing, and sometimes we might burn out, and we don't want to get to that. So, kind of looking after ourselves and having some self-care. Like when we do the check-ins in my meeting, if I'm feeling a bit shit, I just say I feel a bit shit, and it just kind of makes everybody kind of go, oh, okay. And then they'll kind of start asking stuff about me. But yeah, it's just like,
and that's the difference between lived experience and clinical practice. The clinician keeps their stuff to themselves because if the clinician speaks their personal stuff, it can activate stuff in the patient, because that is a patient doctor type role. Yep. So if someone goes in to I'm coming to Olivia for help, and then Olivia says, oh, I'm having a bad day, and that person's pathology, yep, is codependent behavior and not putting themselves first, they might all of a sudden go, oh, don't worry, Olivia, da, 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 da. And then they start acting out on the very thing that they're getting treatment for. However, in the coaching relationship, we're dealing with well people. And when people in recovery with professional lived experience are working in a LERO organization, they understand that sort of stuff. It's contained in a way. Is this making sense, Bally?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've just started at an organization around recovery around gambling harm. I've got lived experience. I've been arguing with my wife a couple of times. I've got some home life issues. It's and fuck, life's hard at times. Yeah. And I'm coming here to learn how I can be better in sharing my lived experience in building rapport with not only the humans we are there to serve, but also my team members in the organization. So, guys, I really need a fuck it day. Andrew's your boss. He says, "Oh, Bally, I get it, mate, but Jesus, it's going to have to be a half-assed day and not a fuck it day because it's going to impact the team." Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And this is a new sort of culture
Mhm.
that's trying to be developed, which I
Mhm.
think Marcus mentioned. Does that make sense? Look, I'm completely making this up as I go along, just trying to.
No,
So
it makes sense. I think the bits that I'm struggling with are probably more me because that whole environment that you described there is completely alien to me. And even when Andrew went through it, I know it's there. Um, I still have reluctance or reservations accessing it because of, I suppose, the way the whole corporate life that I've lived, like it still feels not accessible. It doesn't feel real. I still worry that, oh, if I was to yesterday or the day before, if I did reach
it's
out to them,
awful, huh? Fuck
and
the
I said,
corporate ghosts living. I'm with you, mate. I resonate
the
completely.
fear still is that if I'd flagged it, that I need a funk it day. I know for the whole day, I would have been paranoid thinking, oh, they now having conversations to get rid of me because I still haven't passed my probation. So the last thing I can do is flag anything that I'm struggling, and I have to put on this persona and
Oh,
this front that everything's.
mate, I hear you.
And I'm
Fuck.
still and I'm still stuck. So it's going to take time for me to fully embrace the culture that I'm in. Because I know I'm fortunate to be with work with such wonderful people, and I know if I could reach out to, if I put a message out on any of the teams chat, I know everybody instantly would be like, "I've got 10 minutes for you, mate." I know that, but even with me knowing it, I still can't activate
So,
it.
so Bally, how do we develop that sort of stuff in this classroom environment that Marlon is kind of struggling with, that he sort of mentioned in the beginning? Do you remember Marlon mentioning that? He said something about, yeah, my school environment. I'm not used to being accepted or something. Do you remember that, Marlon?
Coming on to
Coming onto the class, missing classes, being
yeah,
accepted back in. It was a bit
mm,
alien for you.
yeah.
Yep. There's part of testing that happens. Like, are these guys for real? Is this really happening? Does that make
Mm.
sense to everyone?
Mm. Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. Now
I think also
everything. Yes,
it
go,
goes
Marcus.
back to like it's so ingrained that it goes back to like even slavery, like we're owned by the corporation. So whilst we own you on the hours you're on our clock, you do as we expect, and the whole world culturally is moving away from that, and we're trying to deconstruct that, and it's hard because we have two camps constantly battling, and we all know that one camp's bad for us. But we still, the effects of slavery as such, for want of a better way of explaining it, it still has a grip on us. And all we're doing at the moment, like even in these conversations and the organizations that are coming up about us, we're breaking the chains. And it's okay to be you. And if you're not having a good day, then we're not going to get the best out of you. So it takes that time to get yourself to be your best self, and then come back come back to it. You don't even have to take a day off. You might just need to take your four clients off you, and then maybe work through some of like the written stuff that might be stressing you out, catching up on paperwork, and just having a catch up day rather than a full on day working with people. That might just help you get those stress off so you can show up for the four people the next week or in their next session or whatever. But it is okay. It is okay to not be okay, but try and soldier on is it's only going to create burnout, I think. And yeah, we're not owned. We are individual agents at the end of the day.
No, I agree. And this is where I think it's more just a me thing, and it's going to take a bit of time for me to, because then I get into my head about all sorts, and then all the paranoia kicks in, and then I just start going down rabbit holes that, you know,
It's
essentially
not easier.
Sorry?
It's not easy.
Mm. And then there's also the element of, well, I've got these clients booked in, and I kind of say to myself, well, they're kind of early on in their recovery, and then I battle with, well, they're probably in a rougher spot than I am, so I just need to just, like Marlon said, I just need to just deal with this and just make sure I show up for them, because they probably need they need that session more, and if they're cancelled, it's going to affect, I, I worry about, oh, if somebody was really looking forward to the session because they really needed to talk because they were struggling, and then I was to cancel it, what the ripple effect of that would be. So then I'm just like, no, I'm going to do it. Whatever it does to me or doesn't do to me, I'll just deal with that. But I need to show up, and yeah.
And they're going to have to be sometimes when you can show up for certain clients and have to put your stuff aside. Yeah, but there are other times where you're going to be able to be okay with that. And I think that's a judgment call. So for example, you fucking having a bad day, and but somebody's arriving at the airport and need to be escorted to treatment. Marlon can't just go, ah, fuck it, they must go. They must make their own way to the treatment center from the airport. Fucking on, he's going to have to put his shit aside and go, this is what I get paid for. I
Yeah.
don't like it when it's like this. Does that make sense? It's like if somebody is drowning, you're going to throw them a fucking life buoy. You're not going to say things like, well, have you ever tried flapping your arms? It's like fucking, you got to look after yourself, but make sure they don't drown. Do you guys think I'm neurodivergent? Marcus is kind of laughing there.
You got traits, definitely.
So I've got traits from Olivia. Marcus?
Absolutely.
Marlon?
I've never really thought of it, to be fair. I just think that you get a bit excited.
Belly?
I don't fully know what the breakdown of somebody who's neurodivergent is, but I think, yeah, so I can't, I don't really know.
Andrew?
Yeah, judging by your comment earlier about not being able to focus on one thing and trying to do 20 different things at once, there's elements, like I say, traits of it there, absolutely. But you're quite honest about that, aren't you?
Yeah. So my personality, for whatever it is, influences people around me. And I need to be aware of that as well. So when I'm posting videos at fucking 1 a.m, yeah, I'm sending out messages. Yeah, I'm sending out a behavior. Some people love it. It impacts other people. Sometimes it's good for the organization. Sometimes it's bad for the organization. Yeah. But I have a self-awareness of what my behavior is like. Does that make sense? Part of being a professional is understanding when our self stuff is impacting the relationship of the people that we're meant to be serving or working with. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if every week you see your client and you go, oh, fuck, I'm having a bad day today, fucking hell, it's going to have an effect. Yep. If every time you see them, you go, oh, fucking life's brilliant, whoa, 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 and you're just fucking lying, they're going to fucking smell that shit anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the problem with people when they see psychiatrists is their low self-esteem comes in and they're dishonest to the professional that can really help them. So when the professional asks questions, for whatever reason, this person will lie usually because of shame or some power dynamic or something. And then the professional psychiatrist can't form a relationship. So as a coach, if you can help bridge that, yeah. So if Bally said, listen, fuck, David, I don't know if you're neurodivergent or not, yeah, but you seem to be all over the place. Have you ever got a diagnosis or seen someone? Does that make sense? Yeah. So, Bally, what I feel really safe about you is the question that you ask and say, guys, this is what's going on for me. Sometimes I just feel like, fuck it. So me as your colleague, I know where I stand in relation to you. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yep. Marlon, when you've come into this learning environment, I'm not the teacher and you're not the pupil. We're fucking working this out together, mate. Does that make sense? This is what an adult learning environment's like. I do know I'm odd.
So
Not
that's
odd.
like what you were talking about. I've got I could have my self-awareness, like what you spoke about, the self-awareness about that's my self-awareness that I'm saying that, but I don't mean it. No, does that make sense?
So Marlon, you've mentioned several times having a bad experience growing up with the schooling
Yeah.
system.
Yeah.
And that stuff is fucking coming into this learning environment. I'm aware of your trauma from learning. And I'm trying to work this stuff out with you so you can learn a skill set to go out there and do good work and get paid for it.
Okay.
How are we doing for time? 1:45. All right. Who would like to summarize what we've spoken about so far? I want to remove my background.
I'll have a go at it. I suppose in summary, what I've taken from it is we need to be honest with our clients that we work with. We need to show up in whatever capacity we are on that day, whether that's positive, medium, or sort of low, because they'll appreciate that honesty, which will form the bond even more. But also, we're allowed to do it because we're not passing ourselves. Because we're lived experience recovery professionals, and we're not clinical professionals. It is okay to share the sort of the struggles that maybe we're going through as well, and just to show and to show up, be honest about our struggles, because that also demonstrates to them that this is actually the reality of being in recovery as well. And I think that came out in some of my sessions as well this week, where I mean, I personally think it's a good thing for them to see that actually I'm not dressing it up that this is sunshine and rainbows just because you've stopped the gambling or the drinking or the drug, whatever it is. That doesn't mean that now everything's going to be rosy for the rest of your life, and challenges are still going to come up, but we need to work together to build those coping mechanisms so that you're prepared for when life comes and smacks you in the face, or just turns up on a random Tuesday and sets your kind of world upside down. So yeah, so that's what I've taken from it, and we just need to, but we also need to reach out for the help if the help is there. Like me and Andrew have got that support, then we need to sort of get past whatever the internal blockers are and access it.
Who's next? You learned a lot, eh, Belly? You learned a lot, eh?
That's why I asked the
Yeah.
question. That's why I asked the question.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I had a different view in the beginning. When you said it, I was like, well, just take the fucking day off. But then that's my impulsivity and my own neurodivergence turning up, and maybe some things that have happened for me in the past. So yeah, like I suppose I do need to think about the client more. Um, in that sense, like I didn't take into consideration that it could be their first session or they could be early on. And whilst not subscribing to the corporate view, you must do what we pay you. I kind of do think that there is a certain level of expectation. So it's finding the balance between that for me, and living up to the responsibility of the role, without, yeah, shirking responsibility. And I'm not like a responsibility shirker, but it's just made me look at it in a more professional way. I've been a service user for a long time, so I have this view. It's probably a bit cynical of just being let down, and I've had appointments cancelled on me and stuff, but I would much rather and appreciated and honest that I'm not feeling great, than an NHS procedural text message saying your appointment's been cancelled. We've rescheduled it for you. Like there's no agency given to me. Whereas if you came to me and said, we're doing the session, it's okay. I'm not feeling great, then I have found myself like reading the room, and I will take what me as a client I bring to the table and think, well, these things can wait till next week, but I do want to solve this today, and I'll make it easier for the person sitting in front of me. So that's what an honest conversation would bring, and it helps the other person be rational about it. But yeah, I suppose I do need to think about the client more in that sense. So I will take that away today. But it's a good conversation. Thank you, Bally.
For me, it's about awareness of your own recovery as well in that respect. So if you feel like you need to work out what you need to do to keep your own recovery, the job is meant to be an addition to your recovery, not making you set you back at all in the recovery or life in general. So you work to live, you don't live to work. So you want to make sure that you're living your life in a healthy way, and you need to find that balance somewhere and try and I have to do that myself. I have to think of what am I not doing? What's not? Why am I feeling this way? And what can I do to make myself feel better? And sometimes, like you said, Barry, if you take the day off work, sometimes it can make you feel worse because you're worried about what's going on in the background. So it might not be the best option just to take the day off. It might be a case of it can pick you up if you start to work, but it's having that awareness of what's actually causing those feelings and trying to work on and going back to that method, coach yourself or have someone coach you to try and get that out of you as well, and reaching out for that support if need be. But for me, I've got all these tools that I've built up in recovery where I know that if I'm feeling a certain way, what sort of things can I do to help myself feel better? And it might just be a 30-minute run that I can just do just to pick me up, just to get me going for that day. But sometimes you just feel like if you get to the point where you feel I cannot just face today at all, then that's what you need to look at and make those decisions. But it's that balance, isn't it, around it all? But everyone's different.
This is where I stay quiet and wait to see if Marlon or Olivia's got something to add.
I haven't really got much to say, to be honest. Just depending on my like on your circumstances of where you actually are at that day, like self-checking and sharing with someone in your support network. But the thought I picked up is like, I sort of made quite a lot of sense that it's, if I am physically ill, then I cannot attend. Fair enough. But if I'm tired and lethargic and flat, it's a great topic, the container for me and the client for when we do the check-in, and and yeah, keep the conversation flowing, and just have that understanding that like someone, I think it was Bally shared that it's not all singing, dancing, and rainbows. It's okay to feel like this. I don't. It's not the end of the world. Expect days like this. I'm not a super. I ain't got superpowers. But you know from a coaching perspective, I'm just sort of mumbling words out. But yeah. Because I didn't think of, when I felt like that as soon as I woke up today, just really tired and just couldn't be arsed. But I didn't bring that it wasn't that environment to bring to create that container. It was just helping someone with a little bit of homework that they had, so it wasn't necessary to start saying, by the way, I'm really tired. But depending on the environment and what I'm actually doing. So yeah. If I'm coaching for myself online, I think that, me personally, that would be a great topic to bring, when I check in.
Olivia, you want to add something?
I think everything's been said, really.
So that's a no then.
No, I don't have anything to say.
All right. So it is 11:53. The container for me, energy also feels a bit like, oh, is that just me? Or is there a bit of a vibe here?
No, I definitely feel there's a bit of a vibe, a little bit different to previous weeks, and um, that could be just because of the way maybe a few of us checked in and the way we're feeling. I think the only positive. Go on.
So the coaching conversation goes like that over the period of time. In the beginning, it's often, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, fuck, I got work to do. Yeah. So let's just be aware of that as well. Please stick around for the next hour. Let's take a 10-minute break today.
Okay,
Yep. See you
right,
at 5
Sounds good.
past the hour.
perfect. See
That's
you then.
11 minutes.
Wow. Okay. See you then, guys. See you then.
David, how long are you in Cape Town for?
Hello.
Okay. How long are you in Cape Town for?
Till the 11th, and then I go back to London on the 15th.
Okay. Nice. You got a little while longer. You're enjoying it out there.
Tired.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm enjoying it a lot. It's nice to be with my family for my 60th. So,
Amazing. 60th. Oh. When's your 60th? You had it
Monday.
Monday. Happy birthday. Happy 60th.
Thank you. I'll
60
see
years
you all.
young.
I'll see you all again when I'm 60 if I don't see you this afternoon.
I like your signet ring, David.
Sorry?
Your ring. I
You
never
like
noticed it.
it?
Yeah, it's cool. Do you
Yeah,
stamp your do you stamp the paper with it?
no,
Can
but
you stamp mine? Well,
it would be nice.
But it sends
But my
letters.
daughter made it. My daughter made it for me. She's a jeweler.
cool.
And we looked it up in the I Ching and it means father-daughter, which was quite
Oh.
coincidental. And then I've made it the logo for the UACT Trust, the UACT Kick, the community side of this organization. And we do three things here. So we train people, empower individuals to improve treatment outcomes. So it's the logo and what we're doing around it. And yeah, so it means a lot to me. Yeah, this work means a lot to me, and I'm very, very, very passionate about it. And I've got to manage my passion because I get very obsessive. So this work can end up like smoking crack. You just fucking do it all the time. Yeah, it gives you something to do. It's so nice. So let's go there with this with this next hour. What is your kokorozashi? What gives you meaning and purpose in your life? What excites you?
I think everybody knows what mine is. My children, obviously. Yeah, having them back in my life properly is lovely.
So that was a goal.
Yeah. But just spending time with them just makes me feel good.
Okay.
Being present and being with them and laughing.
Laughing with your children.
Yeah. Or them
Yeah.
laughing at me, maybe.
Yeah. So I can be with my kids, but my head's in work.
Mm.
Or I can be with my kids and I can be fucking with my kids.
Yeah.
And I remember when my marriage ended, I came down to Cape Town and I was with my boys and we started to, my boys showed me the TV series The In-Betweeners, which I'm sure you all know. And fuck, did we laugh. It was like laughing with them so much that my stomach would get sore. Yeah. And that was a real healing bonding time for me. And I just kind of realized I don't want to go back to my marriage. Because at the time in the marriage, there was a split between my boys coming over and tension with the relation and I felt quite constrained in the marriage. Just like I felt quite constrained in the corporate work. I'd wake up in the morning, go to work, and spend most of the day trying to avoid doing what I was paid to do. The kokorozashi, the mass space of that environment, didn't feed my soul. Okay? So being with your kids, laughing with your kids, them laughing at you, yeah, feeds your spirit.
Yeah.
Great.
They
Great.
laugh at my Irish accent because I say things differently. And they're always correcting me
Okay.
or asking me to repeat what I've said. And then I catch on to that they're just winding me up. And I just think like, no, I'm not saying it again.
And when we talk about your kids, how does your energy change?
Yeah, I feel better already now, don't I? I'm
Yeah,
smiling.
yeah, you're kind of sitting there and going, yeah, and they're doing this,
Yeah,
and they're
it's my
doing the
kids.
playing, and it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Who's next?
Yeah, I'll go. I think mine. What was the question again? What's your
What gives you
kokoro?
purpose? What's your
What gives me
kokoro
purpose?
zashi?
So
What?
for me, it's people. Seeing people do well, improving the world around me, making it just a happier place, like connection. There's lots of different things, but I'm a bit like you in the sense, like, even when I'm enjoying myself, I'm still looking for ways to make the experience better. Um, so yeah, I guess if I didn't have the struggles that I had in the beginning of life, I would channel that into a different aspect. But for me, it's like my passion is to improve the systems that are around me in many different ways. So like not just the services that we work in, like our relationship with the environment, our relationships with each other, like socially. Um, yeah, so like philosophy, psychology, the environment, like they all just switch my brain on and it just gets me thinking and innovating and yeah, that's what drives
Mate,
me.
you're a fucking
Change.
warrior. You're a warrior activist fucking guy, folks, for the unjust systems that are in the world that hurt people.
So a little bit behind that. So I worked 10 years in retail and I hated the products. I hated the cash side of things, like the processes, but I loved developing my team. I loved taking the time out of the day,
Great.
allowing
Okay.
them just to sit in a space and hearing more about them and why they do. And I burnt out and broke down. And on bad days, I would take trips to London just to walk around and just have a change of scenery. And I could hear this noise one day. I went up to London, my ex-partner and I went up there, and I could just hear this drumming noise in the background. And I was like, that sounds rebellious. That sounds like a bit of me. And as I walked onto Parliament Square, like there was this massive protest with like hanging skeletons, flags, and I was like, I think I found my people. Like it just resonated with me. The vibration that was coming out of that square. It's like
You're a fucking warrior. Huh?
it was filled with love and compassion and anger, and it was just all directed in the right direction. Like everyone was on the same page, they wanted the same thing. And that's Extinction Rebellion. So
Extension. Okay, cool.
so those people that stopped the trains and stuck themselves to windows and stuff, like it's a lot more behind it than just what the media portrayed. And yeah, they held me. I believe they healed me, actually.
Okay, so you had a purpose and a cause and a fucking found your tribe and you're wonderful.
I think I'd stumbled across what it was that I was searching for, which was community and connection. True, authentic meaning and purpose, not just a corporate strategy that needed fulfilling and quotas and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's controversial. I can't talk about it with everyone. I remember when I went to London, I went to the King's coronation, I think it was, and I said to this lady that she was like, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm an activist with Extinction Rebellion," and at the time I was working in the legal team. And she looked at my rucksack and she was like, "You're not going to disrupt it, are you?" It's like, no, like I'm here to enjoy what's going on. Like we don't just go around causing anarchy. So yeah, but I do. I go around causing anarchy in the right way.
Those fucking lived experience people, fucking disruptors. Belly Andrew Marlin, what fills your soul and purpose?
NHS, should I say that? No, I would say for me, it's I can repeat what Olivia said. Family is a big one for me. When my kids come home from school and run in, and you just see this most of the time smile on their faces and that. But I suppose that's one that I had that's more self-driven is achieving stuff that I probably didn't think was possible. I guess so. I did 100 kilometer trail race last September and things like that. So achieving challenges because in my past I would have always backed out of challenges and always run to my comfort zone and stuff.
You did 100 kilometer what?
It's a trail walk for a Thames Walk Challenge over the course of 24 hours. So we did it in just over 24 hours it was. And it's something that I was in agony for the last 8 hours of it, but I completed it, and it was a sort of signal where I'm at the moment in my life. And it just gave me such a boost. I think that achieving things that I would never have thought was possible sort of back 10 years ago gives me massive satisfaction now, even doing this role, doing groups, podcasts, like I mentioned. As much as I need a bit of a break from it for a moment, for a few days. It's given me so much kind of belief in myself, belief to be a better person, to be a better dad, to be a better, me being a better person makes me a better dad and a better husband, better family member, better friend. So all these things are kind of, when I set myself goals and challenges and give myself a purpose of achieving something, seeing myself achieve it without backing out like I used to, gives me massive satisfaction and purpose and makes me feel great about myself. And then it's on to the next challenge, never ends. But that's what gives me that purpose and gives me that drive to keep going and keep making myself better.
Bailey Marlin?
It's a difficult one for me to answer, probably because of the way my mood is. Like this time last week, I would have answered it pretty similar to the way Marcus answered it about people, about this. But I think because the stuff that I've got going on and stuff that I'm thinking, I don't feel, from what I've heard from everyone, like I don't feel I've got any right now. And I
So at
think
the
that's
moment, I feel like shit. Don't come with that crap purpose shit with me now.
no, it's not. No, it's not. Don't come with that shit. But I just can't attach
No,
myself
relax,
to it.
Belly. Seriously, relax. It's completely all right.
Yeah.
It really is. And again, I admire your honesty. I really appreciate. Like, guys, I'm not in the fucking mood for this stuff, and I know I'm turning up the volume. I know I'm turning up the volume, but that's absolutely fine.
Mm.
It really is fine. I feel quite sad when I say that. There's part of me that recognizes a sadness in the masks that I've had to put on my whole life and say things are okay when they're not actually okay. No? Marlon?
What was the question again?
I fucking don't know.
Just
What's
the
your kokorozashi? What gets your
what G's
soul?
what gets me really G'd up is like not in a sick way, but like my past life like being my ultimate best asset today if I use it wisely, and just being of genuinely it's being of service to other people, like I just have like I had just a fantastic day. It just reminds me that I have got meaning and purpose, and I'm on the right track. Just three boys from the UK were leaving together treatment, and in their commencement, they not blowing smoke up my arse, but they thanked me for being of service to them and helping them out, and that really like does something to me that I've lived quite a wild naughty life in the past and believed that that way of living was right, but and nothing could fill it, and that was just like it reminds me like that I can help and help other people and navigate and guide them to lead a different life and want to live a different life. Yeah, so moments like that just proper G me up. Even like now saying it, it's like I'm getting excited because I know that there's many more people out there that I can share my honesty with them from my old way of living that can really help them, to want to lead and live a different life. So people, yeah.
Did you have quite a colourful past?
Very, yeah, very, very, very colourful,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Okay.
very. And do you know what? And I'd be brutally honest as well. Like it's took me I've had such it's the attachment to that old way of living that's really, I found it so difficult to go away from, and I'm like I'm like fine.
And was it considered criminal, your past?
Yes, yeah, very
Yeah.
much so,
It's
very much so.
exciting that the wheeling and dealing and the hustling and the fucking there's a lot
Yeah,
of camaraderie in that, huh?
yeah, false connection. Yeah,
I don't know if it's false connection.
yeah. Well, when I think back, I feel like a lot of it was, but yeah, don't get me wrong. I had some good times, but it's never in the long run. It didn't serve me well in the slightest, and would
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. No, but there definitely is something fucking exciting in that.
mm,
I love a hustler. I fucking love operating and fucking making things happen and
fixing,
huh?
fixing,
Fixing.
fixer. Yeah.
What, like Ray Donovan?
Like Derek for real.
I don't know Derek for real.
It's just a great part out of the film Blow with George Young. You know,
Oh, with Blow with
Johnny Depp.
Johnny
Yeah,
Depp. Yeah, I love that
playing
shit.
playing George Young. George Young, the guy that he never got to see his daughter and his family again and died in jail. Yeah, it's a great story.
Oh,
Really.
okay. Yeah, that's a fantastic. I do love all that shit.
Mm.
How do you think our clients like it?
Well, I mean, the it's the it's really interesting because there I see many passing through, especially from the UK, that are from like ages 21 to 27 that have got real attraction, and it seems to be their real struggle of like how appealing it all still seems, even though like for instance not being involved in it, but like a part of it in a sense. I've found the people that I've been meeting a lot
Seductive,
very
huh?
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, I feel like I'm carrying the container now. Yes, Andrew.
I think that's one of the things I've noticed as well. People trying to obviously stop gambling is that thought of not going, missing out. I hear a lot of people missing out, feeling like they're not going to have that life again and that excitement again around it. And it's kind of a big kind of topic a lot around it all. How do you manage that, Marlon, when they come to you with that?
How do I manage it for self? What, as in?
Yes, so say they want to sort of carry on that life. Obviously, you're helping them try and get past that life, I'm guessing. And so, how, when they sort of want, like David said, it's quite seductive to go back to that life, how do you kind of work with them through that?
I mean, it's just literally just sharing, truthfully and honestly sharing my journey and just my beliefs back then and what my beliefs are now. That's all I can really do. And that's all I ever do, if I'm honest. It's
Showing them the light at the end of the
take
tunnel, sort of thing. Yeah.
take them on the journey right from the start, and it's up to them to decide. If
Let you know, we may record this call for training and monitoring purposes.
all my trial and retributions, it's and that my identity then compared to my identity now is, when I they can't see it, but they understand it.
There's definitely an
And
unspoken thing in working when you've got that so much. Sorry, go on.
the fact of the recent ones, bear in mind, I share, like, I know that especially to the younger generation, which I've been working with recently, when I share my journey in my life, and I'm 35 today, not today, but I'm 35 now, and I'm now being supported and looked after to be in a different country, and I'm really happy with volunteering and giving back, without payment. That just shows, like, where I am today compared to where I was and what I always believed I was, and they can see the passion I have within work. I'm brutally honest.
What do you mean by brutally honest?
I'm brutally honest in, like, I share, like, like, because obviously I gauge the room, and I believe I'm very good at gauging and getting an understanding of, like, what someone needs to hear, and the fact that, it's like, it's hard for me, being, when I go back in that position, everyone takes everything with a pinch of salt, and it's not that I'm firing out war stories, but when the finishing story is, like, for them, like, look, I'm 35 today, and I don't have a partner, I don't own a property, I'm just survived, I've just held on to my family, I have absolutely zero, whereas previously, in my previous life, all I've strived for is money and prestige and honey and all that sort of stuff, and I've look at me now, but I'm the happiest I've ever been, and here I am sharing my message to you, but sort of, they appreciate that honesty, because the glitz and the glamour is, like, what they believe is so exciting and so fulfilling. It's they wanted to strive back and jump straight into work and start earning the pound note. Like, that's just what they're so eager to go and prove to the world that, they're very capable. That's what I've gauged recently. It's like I'm living in Thailand. When I say I'm living in Thailand, and how do you afford to live here? And I'm like, well, I'm very grateful and very fortunate that I've got good people around me that are helping me to be here. I can go back and do whatever I need to do back home if I wanted to go and do that. I've got I became a watch trader towards the end of my time. And it's not the environment I want to go back into.
A watch trader.
Yeah. So I'd come down to the gardens a couple of days a week down your way and be trading.
Selling watches.
Yeah. Yeah.
These things.
You've won the Apple watches,
Oh,
no?
okay.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
yeah, not Apple watches.
No. I'm sure the Amigas and the Seamasters and the
Oh no, Seamasters. No Seamasters. Can't really do much with them. Too vintage. I do love them though.
Hmm. You see, there's one of my things that had just been triggered. My granddad died of multiple sclerosis. Yep. And when he died in his room, my grandmother said to me, "Go and take his watch off. It's for you." And it was a gold antique Amiga Seamaster.
Golden.
And then a few years later, when I was smoking crack, it went into a pawn shop for 300 Rand, which was about 30 quid. Yep. And of course, I never picked it up. And this is over 30 years ago. And it's still I have this fantasy of finding this watch and buying it and reclaiming something of my grandfather's heritage or something. Yep. So as soon as Marlon said that, that story in me got activated, and then my agenda came into the room. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah.
Well, it's like you said crack converters in my ears.
Yeah.
Thumbs
Crank
up,
converters. There
you
we go.
know,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
I got ultimate identification.
Mm,
The shame came straight up. It was like, oh God.
okay. So what is the gift of shame?
Joy.
What,
So
what
for
about
trying
the
to
me,
think.
question? What was the gift of shame?
yeah.
For me, it's like a signal to
Freedom.
something that you potentially don't want to do.
Yeah, go down that path, Andrew.
So it's telling me if I feel guilt or shame over something that I've done, it's saying that I don't want to go back there. So I need to kind of work on it to stop myself from going doing that activity again. I'm working on myself to try and not not put myself in that situation again where I feel that way. It's a signal.
Yeah, but the same. I mean, also, if you still go and do it, or think about it, or think about doing it, even though you're feeling the shame and you still do it, I feel that's quite a dangerous place because that just like triple, quadruple compounds the shame because the fact that you know it's wrong, you know it's bad, but you've still chosen to ignore it and go back there, that can. So when you're saying the gift of shame, maybe this could be because of the headspace I'm in this week, but I don't really. I'm trying to see where the gift of shame. I'm struggling to see where the gift, where there is a gift within shame.
So for me, the gift of shame is it tells us about our values. Yeah. So if I'm dishonest and I lie, one of my values is personal honesty. Yeah. Being a truth teller. Yeah. Um, when I was a kid, I swore I wouldn't turn out like my father, who was a violent alcoholic. And there were times in my addiction where I was worse than him, particularly to I was a bad father at times. Yep. And the shame of that was the part of me that woke me up of how I promised I wouldn't be, and I'd lost those values inside of me. Does that make sense? Yep. Being kind is a value of mine. Being generous is a value of mine. Yep. When I'm being ungenerous. Is that such a word? When I'm not being generous, then I can feel ashamed about it. But then there are other times when people will tell me I'm not being generous, yeah, but actually I am, but they're just kind of using it in a way to manipulate because they know it's one of my trigger points. Does that make sense? So let's go back to culture. Let's go back to work. Let's go back to the corporate environment. Yeah.
No.
So when I worked in corporate at JP Morgan, the fucking bank in the early 2000s, the contract was arrive at 9 in the morning, leave at 5 in the afternoon. That was your working hour. The culture was you arrive at 7 in the morning, you leave at 7 at night, because if you didn't work in that culture, you weren't one of the team. If you weren't one of the team, you wouldn't get one of the bonuses. Yeah, you wouldn't be a part of. So there was this shadow culture within the organization that got people to work an extra 6 hours a day or 5 hours a day because you would feel shame if you left work at 5 in the evening. And people would say, "Where are you going?" "Oh, fucking easy life, eh? Da 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 da."
Part
Does
time,
that
but
make
that's
sense?
not. Yeah. Are you
Huh?
working part? I used to work in a similar culture. If you left at 5, people would shout, "Oh, you're just doing part time hours today, are you?"
Exactly. So you guys are working in lived experienced organizations where your value is to go off and help people for whatever reason, and the environment can take advantage of that because of your good nature and what you want to do. Does that make sense? Now, Bally, you're just kind of waking up to this and going, fuck, is this really true here? Can I really trust this stuff? Fuck, I'm on probation. Are they going to accept me? Am I going to be part of the team? Can I really take a fucking day or a half-assed day or whatever it was? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You're adjusting to the culture.
Mm.
And Marcus is talking about deconstructing that shadow culture that fucking eats at humanity. That's his activist inside of him. Is that correct, Marcus? Like Marcus even looks like fucking Neo from the Matrix. He's like fucking wanting to wake people up. Guys, you're in a fucking machine. Wake up. He heard the drums of fucking Trafalgar Square and he fucking woke up and realized, fuck. So, what's your calling, people? We're going to leave it there. We're going to knock off early today. Yeah. And your homework. In fact, I'm going to jump off. If you want to stay here and talk amongst yourselves for a bit, that's fine. But what's your calling? What's in it for you? Doing this training, how is this going to fucking help you? Goodbye. I check out with Joy. I'm going to make Marcus the host just to close off the container when you guys feel. I'm just trying to stir up the energy. See those of you this afternoon.
Cool. See you later, Doug.
I wasn't ready for that. I think for me, what this training brings is not it's like there's a lot of knowledge in it, but it's actually the connection and seeing other people, being with other people who are trying to achieve similar things.
Mm.
It's like I'm with my people again. Like when I first went along to the protest thing, I was like, I found my people, and I kind of had that here. It was I got a random email, and then it's like this better not be 12 step, and then I haven't left since because like I feel it in everyone's energy that we all want to achieve the same thing.
Mm.
I mean, well, one, the lived experience caused so much negativity like in the past, and to be able to use that in a positive manner now going forward is just huge. Like it feels like there was a time when all that felt like wasted time, and I felt I had to play catch up, and now it feels like it's not wasted time. That's a massive lesson, and it's now built into this. And what the coaching is helping me do is like what David just literally did about 10 minutes ago is I'm trying to articulate something in a way that I've got in my head, and then it's teaching me to be able to do it in a professional way, in a way that everyone's going to understand. So to be able to translate all that went on in my life in a way that can help others going forward is just huge, and it just gives me so much kind of love for work. You know, I never thought I'd enjoy my work and enjoy what I do, and now I'm able to do it and do it in a way that's helping people. It's just amazing considering I lived in a life where 12 years I hated my job and wanted to leave every day. It just gives me this gratitude around it all is huge for me. So that's my main kind of take from this coaching, along with what you said, Marcus, around connection as well. But it's being able to communicate what's gone in my life in a way that can help others going forward.
It's hard to I think the lived experience space altogether. I came along and it was just like tokenism, and it's about professionalizing it without allowing it to be corporatized, which I feel that NHS did. They took it and they corporatized lived experience, but like the trust that I'm working with locally, they seem to be getting that we've corporatized it and we've taken it away from what it actually was, and we've just made it back into something that is NHS. And that our whole idea was that it was to be an external influence to the NHS to help it. Yeah, just get down with the people, roll up its sleeves and get stuck in. But so I think that's there's a lot of stigma around lived experience, because it's like in a meeting someone said to me, she was like, everyone's got lived experience, and this is the leader of research and development and learning and development, and it's like if that's the thought process going on at the top, no wonder why it's resonating the way that it does down on the ground. So yeah, it's about breaking that stigma down. I think a big part of our job is breaking that stigma down and communicating what lived experience really is from a place of not actually fucking knowing. It's hard. Does anyone else, what other barriers do people come up with when trying to like use your lived experience?
Sort of in the past, I think we talked about it last week. I think in the past, when I was working in the other role, it was more like you said, it was more like you was just a token person there, but your voice wasn't actually heard or respected or valued. And it felt maybe people felt they needed to have somebody with lived experience in the room because that was maybe ticking boxes for them. So I think maybe that somebody seeing the genuine value in your lived experience as opposed to just having you because they feel they've been told to have somebody with lived experience in the room.
How does Epic restart? Like if you look at it, I don't know, I don't want to pick on the NHS, it's already got enough flack, but how does Epic restart do it different to the NHS? Like how do they make you feel valued or your experience is valued?
So from my experience, certainly with my last job, my immediate team were fine. It was kind of then the managers knew me, and they come from a background that wasn't NHS, so they weren't conditioned in the same way as potentially someone who's gone through the whole NHS process for so long. So I felt my immediate team was pretty good at incorporating me, and I felt valued within the NHS. But it's when you went beyond that to try and put a point of view across or to try and challenge anything, you were just shot down immediately from any direction above. It was like, well, you're not at that level, so you should have no voice around it. And these would be decisions around, gambling harm, which some people had never had any experience of. They just put in that position, that job, without that experience around it. Whereas now it feels I could literally approach anyone from right to the top to the CEO, anyone at all, and just message them directly with a point of view, and it'd be listened to, considered, and you'd find it potentially be put into place at some point. Everyone's kind of, our deputy CEO's been where I've been now. He's worked his way up from the position I'm in now to where he is now, so he knows the process, he knows where I'm at. It feels like he gets it, and then the whole team just kind of get where you're at. Whereas NHS felt like it's very hierarchy, it was very systematic. So to get anywhere or to talk to anyone about anything had to go through processes, and it'll just get blocked off at some point. Because the peer support service in the gambling harm sector in the NHS is pretty non-existent throughout the whole sector. It's starting to build up, but I think my service was the only one that had a peer support group and a service user forum up and running. And to try and implement that in others, they just weren't having it. They just didn't trust it. They didn't trust you to actually be able to facilitate a group on your own, because they didn't know what you'd be talking about, didn't know if it would be within those constraints. And it's like, just trust me. you train me up to be a peer support worker, I can do it. And that other people within the NHS in the same position as me, throughout the country, were having more struggles now where I was with it as well. So it's just the blocks put in place regarding just needed to do something. Yeah, it was tough.
I suppose it comes from their risk management sort of approach. Like everything's a risk unless you're in. Everyone's a risk unless they're banded in a band role, like band 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
With a certain qualification. Yeah.
Does anyone else have anything to chip in on that, or anything come up that might add to the lived experience conversation?
What was the question mark that he left us with? I can't remember.
I don't know, just
It's
like
what you're looking to get out of coaching.
trying to
Okay.
oh yeah, got I think that was David's question. Yeah. What do you get out of this?
What are we looking to get from coaching, this coaching course, or
Yeah, from David's courses, or
yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
it doesn't have to be just the courses. Like myself and David Valley said, like it's more than just the courses. The courses are actually, the knowledge is good, but it's just so much more.
Yeah,
Like
I suppose
watching.
curiosity brought me here, to be honest. You know, for me personally, it was more about around my personal recovery, and wanting to expand. And I suppose for me, coming from a entrepreneur, if you want to call it, sort of background my whole life, and never delving into a world of professionalism, and just trying to do something different with my life and pick up a tool that might become very, very helpful for me, and learn from others, from people from a wider audience of environments that could, help my tool bag, for instance, and be able to maybe deliver myself, because I can, in certain ways I'm very good, but then I'm confident in most situations, scenarios, but I mean, to be able to deliver myself in different capacities and with confidence, I suppose. That's why I've delved into this. I've never done anything like this in my life, so it's all interesting, it's all new. I don't know
Yes.
really what I'm to get out of it, to be honest, but that's all right. It's still something that keeps bringing me back, and I'm quite determined to see what's at the end.
I think
So,
the product is the community. It's not necessarily the content. It's
mm,
the community and seeing what other people are doing, what organizations are doing, how people are thinking, and just that common cause. It's not necessarily like, yeah, we're learning about coaching. I think there's more in the community from my thing. Like you can't quite name it, but you know that there's something there. And I think that's just the community of practice. That's part of the package, I guess. How are you feeling, Olivia? Are you setting up your laptop?
I'll put it down. How am I feeling? I'm just feeling really tired today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Just feel by the end of the week I do get a little burnt out sometimes because of the liver cirrhosis. If I do too much, I kind of get really bad fatigue and then I can't sleep properly. So that's where I am at the moment. Yeah, I came across this. I was going through Google just searching for things, and it kind of came up on a page and it said Zoom was happening now. So I pressed the button and then I came here, and I've showed up ever since. So it was just completely random for me to kind of find myself on here. Yeah, so yeah, I think I was probably one of the first people to start joining when I started. Yeah, and I'm still here.
Have you done many counseling like sessions with people?
No,
I was going
no,
to ask that how you put the coach into the counseling.
you kind of have to different them. They're not the same kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like seeing if they actually complement each other. I was looking at just some other ways. Like there's something called ACT therapy, which is acceptance and commitment therapy, and that's like a cross between counseling
coaching. Yeah.
and coaching. So
Yeah, I think with the coaching kind of we're kind of sharing our experience and we're kind of getting them to kind of make their own decisions. With counselling, I think you kind of guide them into decisions and stuff like that, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I
You kind of
think
make more suggestions to them and more kind of homework for them and stuff like that. With the coaching, it's like we're on the same kind of side, if that makes sense. We're at the same level. I'm
yeah,
not better than he is, or she's not better than me. But with a counsellor, you've got that status, don't you? Then being a counsellor and that's your client is different than being a coach, isn't it?
like the psychology behind it all just keeps my brain ticking over.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, like I've been a sponsor. I'm doing my counselling and I'm doing this, and my is going, which role am I in today? But yeah.
do you find having like three strings to that bow, like how's it helped your like building the rapport and like relationships with people? Do you find that like in one relationship that like three parts show up differently, or like do you just
Yeah,
take
like
a role with
I wouldn't be sharing my experience with my clients when I'm a counsellor, will I? I won't be saying like, oh, this is what I done and that's what I
yeah.
done, But in coaching, I can bring up stuff
No, I
about
mean
me. Sorry.
I mean like overall, just in day to day, like do you find it's like improved the way that you interact with people just generally, like and
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. I put a lot of boundaries in where I didn't do before, especially with my children. Um, but and family, but and friends. But I think they like saying to me like it's like I was made to go through all that shit to help other people because that's like I didn't go through all that, like I think it was Andrew just said, if I didn't go through all of that, you know, I wouldn't be able to help other people. If that makes sense. But I do work in childcare, so I've gone from children to adults. So
We're probably coming towards the end. Shall we check out? Are we done?
I'm done.
I need my lunch. My brain's not working properly.
Oh,
Oh yeah, exactly. Had to like scoff some breakfast down midway because my brain just wasn't. Who wants to start the checkouts?
I'll go first. I'm grateful for this conversation. I'm glad some of the stuff we covered. Wouldn't say it's helped yet, but it does definitely helped a little bit. But yeah, feeling pretty much the same, but grateful for the spending the last 2 hours with you guys. So I appreciate all of your kind of input, and I'll I'll tag Marlon.
yeah, thank you, Bally. Yeah, it was really nice to see everyone again and get connected because I've had some time away, so I feel like I'm back in the game now. Yeah, again, I felt tired and just couldn't be arsed. And, you know, I always know that by the end, I'm going to feel a little bit better and feel quite energized, to be honest, now. Some interesting topics. It's all stuff that you've been talking about. Be sort of, I'm in a place where I find it interesting now instead of like alienating it because I can't relate to it, where I start doing all this separation jazz. But it's been really insightful. So, yeah, thank you, guys. And I'll pass to Andrew.
Cheers, Marlon. Yeah, I'm feeling better than I did at the start. I feel positive. I feel like I've picked up quite a few bits again today, always doing these sessions. Sun's just come out. I've got the afternoon off, picking the kids up early from school and long weekends, and which I feel like is needed. So I'm positive, happy, and pleased I've come on today. Yeah, and then I'll hopefully see you all next week. And I will tag Olivia.
I'm feeling a little bit guilty because I was supposed to go to see Marcus today and I've let him down as well. Sorry, Marcus. But I do feel a little bit better now. So I'm thinking about, shall I still go? Shall I go now for the next meeting? But it's just a long drive, isn't it? That's what's stopping me. Yeah, I'm feeling much better than I did when I came on. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll check out with Hungry. And yeah, it's been a good session. And don't feel guilty. It's like a bit like what we discussed today with Bally. If you don't feel up to it, just say and make sure you're all right at the end of the day because you need to show up for the rest of it all. You're more than welcome to pop up, whatever.